Good morning. Today is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022, and this is the Collection Service Board meeting. This meeting was regularly scheduled. Information was put on the board's website as proper notification of this meeting, and that was added on or before July 6th. I want to welcome everyone here. I am Roxana Gamusio, the Executive Director with the Collection Service Board, and so we will start by doing roll call vote to make sure that we have quorum present for the meeting to take place. Chip Hellman. Mr. Hellman might be able to join us virtually, but if he doesn't, I'll mark him as absent. Greg Zaworski. Jason Hill. Tony Zikovich.
Here.
Thank you. And our new board member, Lori Hadwig. Thank you very much. And board members, I'll take this quick opportunity to introduce you to our newly appointed board member. She is our public member. Lori, if you'd like to say something to the members, I think you've had a chance to meet them just briefly.
That's not yet.
Lori, can I get you to lower your mic? There you go. And then you'll see the light red. Just go ahead and press the speak.
I do
There you go. It's picking up your voice.
creditor type work. I do loan closings, evictions, and collections.
Thank you. And we are very appreciative to have her on the board. So right now we've got a full board. I again welcome you and really appreciate you being here. We have quorum at this time, so I would need a motion regarding the agenda. The members were sent the agenda ahead of time to review. Are there any changes? And if we have none, we would have to motion to accept the agenda.
Swirsky, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Anyone in opposition? All in agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The agenda is passed as it was presented. Next, we're going to go ahead and discuss, and this information is on your iPads, but the minutes from April were also sent previously. Are there any questions or changes to it? Hearing none, we would need a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented for the April meeting.
So moved.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving along with our agenda as posted, we will get to our director's report. And on your website, on your iPads, the information for the director's piece starts on page 8. The page numbers are at the bottom. But the first thing I'd like us to take care of is the assignment of the secretary position. The statute for this program requires a chair, and we have Chip Hellman as our chair, a vice chair. Greg, Mr. Zaworski is our vice chair, but we do also need a secretary. So I'll turn it over to the board for discussion and see if we have anyone that you recommend. I think it's okay if you do, but I'll apologize in advance if we give you too much, Tony. So hearing.
It's a thankless job.
I'm used to that. I'm just kidding.
Recommendation for Tony Zikovich. Is that a motion?
That is
Right.
a motion.
And we have a second by Mr. Hill. All those in agreement to have our secretary be Tony, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We now have a secretary. We'll update our website with that information. And so the next item on our agenda to discuss is the NACARA conference. The draft agenda starts on page 8 for your review. Of course, it's the latest draft. It still has some changes possibly coming up. I want to inform the board that Bob, of course, has been very hard at work with the committee, making sure that because the conference is held here in Nashville, that it's we participate in it. We help them in anything that they need. He has been on all of those meetings to kind of help discuss speakers and create some of these paths. So the first item of business that I need to cover is, because it's being hosted here, we would like to offer goodie bags to the individuals that are registering to come. And so with that in mind, the conference is held October 12th and 14th. We have our commissioner, Carter Lawrence, is going to do the introduction. So we're very excited about that. And the goodies that we hope to do, we won't, spoil the information, but we are getting 3 things through General Services that have the logo of Commerce and Insurance, Nashville, and NACARA. So we've kind of picked some colors, had our communications team work on those. Bob has made some great selections. We're about ready to order those. We're going to put them in goodie bags, have a couple of editable, things to eat from Nashville, typical Tennessee things. We would need the board to approve a maximum of $2,000 for the expenses. We don't think it'll quite be that amount, but we're also paying for one of the speakers that's coming in that was going to be charging NACARA, and they asked if we could pick up that fee. So, but this is open for conversation. If you all have any questions, I'm happy to go over. We came up with that for that budget just to give us a little bit of cushion. We'll probably be closer to $1,500 to $1,800, but we figure $2,000 covers it.
Do we expect to
I think
attend?
right now the last number that they've given Bob is about 75. So
Okay,
it would
great.
be really nice to be between 75 and 100. He's going to be completing the registration, and after we take care of this vote, I'll make sure that Bob also fills you in on some of the sessions and how we would register any of you that are wanting to attend. This is, of course, for the administrators, and so Bob is going to be going on our behalf because he's our expert in the industry. I'm going to be there for a few of the sessions as well. But it'd be nice to have right at that 75. It's the first one they're having in person since the
Right.
pandemic. Yes.
I make a motion we accept the $2,000 budget.
Thank you.
I second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Zaworski and a second by Mr. Zikovich. And all those in agreement for the $2,000 budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carried unanimously, and we will proceed with those orders with supply issues that everyone hears about. We just didn't want to put that off too long before the meeting. The follow-up item that we have, of course, is regarding the registration, actual topics, and the sessions. And I will turn it over to Bob because he's been dealing with these, and he can answer any questions you've got regarding the session in particular that covers the industry participants. Bob, it's all yours.
Good morning. The sessions that we'll be participating in as far as speakers will be Chip Hellman will be doing a session that right now is scheduled to be on Thursday, and it'll be a discussion of post-pandemic, how the pandemic affected folks, agencies that have closed, just a variety of topics. He'll be there with a panel of 3 or 4 other people. Also, we have contacted the TBI, and we have one of their lead trainers that is coming in to do a session that will be involved in investigative and interrogation type techniques for the agencies that do a lot of the on-site examinations and visits and so forth, to help them with those techniques. He's been in that line for, I believe, 20 years, if I remember. He'll be coming in on Wednesday to do that presentation as we have it scheduled at present. NACARA does allow non-regulators to come on Thursday of the meeting. That is the only day that anyone who is not a regulator is allowed. The Wednesday and Friday sessions are limited to those who are regulators. Part of that is because of the items discussed, the background. They talk a lot. They'll bring in speakers from the CFPB, from other agencies and so forth. Mr. Hellman, because he is speaking, will have a pass already to get in that Thursday if he's interested in doing so. If any of the rest of you were interested in attending on Thursday, unfortunately it is full price, which is $500 for registration as long as we do those prior to August 15th. And as Roxana said, she would like to have herself and myself attend those. Even though we don't do the investigative end in the examination as the other states do, it does help me a lot with licensing to be able to recognize names of companies that there may be issues with, things that are going on in the industry and so forth, to be aware of that. Any other questions regarding the agenda, the conference, anything that I could answer for anyone?
I think I'll probably attend on Thursday.
All right, I have registration forms. I will send you one if you'll take care of it and send it back to me.
Great.
Thank you, Bob, for the explanation. Again, it's been a blessing to have Bob participate in the meetings because he's been able to give him ideas, sell Nashville, all of that. So, so it's my understanding that Greg will attend, will complete the registration. That would be $500. We're definitely going to register Bob, and depending on what else is covered, I may end up being registered for all of them as well. I just want to be prudent with our money. It may make more sense that just a board member attend Thursday and Bob all of it, but I would need a motion to go ahead and approve up to the 3 registrations, and then we'll decide at the last minute.
I second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Jason Hill, a second by Tony Zikovich to allow for up to 3 registrations. I need a unanimous vote. If everyone in agreement would please say yes.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. With that, that takes care of the conference. We will make sure that everyone gets a final draft, just so you kind of know what the final agenda looked like. Next is our budget that we review, and I'm happy to go over any of these numbers. I know that Glenn Kopchak, who we all miss having this program, so again, I want to share how proud I am of everything he's done. He's got 6 programs under him now as executive director, but he was very sorry to leave you all. So I know he's discussed the budget a few times. We've seen a decline in the revenue that has been expected. I'm not overly concerned about that. As we've restructured some of our internal pieces, my staff's gone down by 1 full body now, and we're realigning things. I think we're going to be able to see a little bit of a reduction in expenses, maybe not a lot. As you can see, this year will end up in June. We'll have some final numbers, and so we are at a negative of 1,000 with what we just approved. This falls into the next fiscal year, so that's the good thing, is these expenses are going to hit next year. I think we may still end up really, really close to not being in the red for this year. However, you all know that we've had a pretty decent reserve amount. Years ago, before Glenn got here, I remember being before the legislators with our reserve, and that was in question, and the recommendation was to lower our fees. I'm glad we didn't, obviously, because we knew the impact of the employees not needing to be licensed. That was going to really hit the program. The solicitor cards has had an impact financially, but not huge, and it was the right thing to do. So I think I'm comfortable with us kind of seeing where this goes, knowing that our reserves are there, and definitely answer any questions that you have, any things that concern you. And once we finish and close 2021-22 fiscal year, probably by September, definitely for the October meeting, we should have some final numbers and can kind of dive in then.
I just comment, I guess,
Yes.
as Bob suggested, the CFPB is going to be here speaking, and a lot of the changes they're making are really impacting the industry. We're seeing, I'm on the board of directors with the American Collectors Association. We're seeing agencies shutting their doors because of all the regulation. The Reg F is very difficult for people to comply with, and we're going to see a continuing shrinkage in the industry, or consolidation, if not shrinkage. So if you have 3 agencies combined into one, then there's just one license, right? Yeah. So just a comment. Yeah.
No, and I welcome those comments. We're seeing it. The license is being surrendered is what they do. We no longer need this license. And so that is fewer renewals, which obviously does impact us, but it's just part of it. So we'll keep an eye, but I definitely like these conversations and knowing that, what's causing it, right? It doesn't make sense to raise fees if we know that reserve is there and that this is kind of a trend. So that this was more informational than anything else. So with that, I will turn it over to Hugh Cross so he can do the legal report for you. And the legal report starts on your iPads on page 12.
Good morning, everyone. You should all have copies of the legal report, and just if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. I'll give you a few minutes or as much time as you need.
Just the 5, right? Yeah.
Just the 5.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We need a motion to accept.
You just need a motion to accept, or
So moved.
thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion by Greg and a second by Tony. Is that correct? Or is that Jason? Jason, thank you so much. All those in agreement of accepting the legal report with the recommendations as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any in opposition? Hearing none, that concludes the legal report. Thank you very much. The last item on the agenda is for us to review our 2023 dates. I believe I've sent them also to everyone in advance, but I'll definitely do that after this. These are our standard Wednesdays at 9:30. If anyone has conference, big items that we might have missed with those dates, please let either Bob or myself know so we can change them. For right now, we've booked this room for our meetings and they're pretty standard. I would need a motion to go ahead and accept those dates as presented.
Second.
Thank you. A motion by Jason, a second by Tony. All those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries unanimously. And members, for new business, I turn it over to you. If there's anything that you've got, questions, this is a perfect time for us to go over those before we wrap up.
Just one quick. I looked at my calendar and I did not have this meeting on as an invite or whatever.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, for these other dates. Normally I would get an invitation or something, an email or whatever, and it could just be that my system's blocking it or something. But
Okay. What we'll do, if not today, definitely early next week, I'll make sure that you've got these dates and then we'll send them ahead of you for you. The reason that you don't normally get an invite is we'd have to be on the same system for the teams for you
Right.
to actually
Gotcha.
put it on your calendar.
Okay.
So once we send it out, if you'll make sure to flag
it
it,
to the-
and
yeah.
then yes, I am always going to send you the documents in advance that can be reviewed at least a week. I try for a week and a half in advance for our meetings. So I'm glad that we caught you. And for the time being, at least all our meetings are in person. If we have quorum in person, you're able to call in. So Greg was kind of on the fence. He had travel things that came up if he was going to be able to call in. So I really appreciate you all letting us know anytime something comes up.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Are we still having an October meeting?
We are.
Okay.
We are.
So
And
the conference is generally at the same time when we have our meeting.
I think we moved it. I believe that at the last meeting, you all voted to move it to October 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's the Wednesday before the conference. And I can send a reminder for that as well. And I want to make sure that our new member, Lori, also has that date on her calendar and then these. So we'll take care of that this afternoon for sure. Thank you. Anything else, members? No? Okay. Well, hearing nothing, it is, I believe, 9:50, and I would need a motion to go ahead and adjourn.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
second? Thank you. And if all are in favor, if I can get a unanimous yes, we're ready to conclude.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. With nothing else, then thank you again for your time, your commitment to the industry, and we are done with the board meeting today. Thank you.